Welcome to K-Drama School. I'm your host, Grace Jung, and class is now in session. Today I'm going to be talking about the show Worlds Within, which is a 2008 Korean drama from KBS written by No Hee-kyung. No Hee-kyung, as you all know, is one of my favorite K-drama writers. She recently wrote Our Blues, and she also wrote other famous Korean dramas like Live. She also wrote It's Okay, That's Love. She also wrote Dear My Friends. She's a very talented writer. And this show is this meta storytelling where she dives into the drama department of a Korean network. And it's got this intense sort of like boundary violating sort of work atmosphere. People are dating one another. They are yelling at one another. They're hitting one another. It's so like messed up. Like it's violating so many labor laws, and yet it is all romanticized in this way of like, oh, this is what camaraderie is. This is what a family is. And you see that in No Hee-kyung's shows throughout. Whenever there's like a family unit or a community unit, there is this romanticizing of this agrarian boundaryless lifestyle, and there is a familiarity to it, there's a sweetness to it, there's a wholesomeness to it, but at the same time there is the danger aspect to it, right? And that's why it is very suitable for a dramatic series, because there's so much potential for drama to happen or erupt in those kinds of settings, in those kinds of environments, right? So in this show you have Song Hye-kyo and Hyun-bin, who are the lead stars of the show, and they are both playing TV drama directors. Okay, so TV drama directors, when they're women, it's very, very rare, right? Like it's mostly a male-dominated industry. Men tend to be the directors typically, women tend to be the writers typically, but you have this female director who wants to be the lead director of a dramatic series, and she's sort of fighting for that occupation. She's also fighting for love. She's also fighting for her right to have a voice. She also gets into fights with like the DP, for instance, the director of photography. That's usually the you have that kind of tension all the time, typically between a female director and a male DP, because directors of photography tend to overstep their boundaries at times, and I've heard so many cases where female directors have butted heads with male DPs. So you have that kind of scenario playing out in the show as well, and it's an interesting sort of worlding. You also have like a writer character on the show, and I guess that's supposed to symbolize No Hee-kyung in a way, right? Like I'm a writer as well, so when I was watching the show years ago, I remember seeing the part when the writer spills a drink over her laptop and then she ends up losing several episodes of the show that she's been writing, and that was just like devastating to watch. That was also interesting, seeing like how does the writer fit into this kind of world, in the drama world of a TV network. What is their power status like? How do they fit into the whole realm of relations between the director and the network executives and the actresses and the actors? Like what exactly, how do they fit in, right? Because they don't quite have showrunner status, but they also do have some power. So it's this interesting sort of balance that they got to carry out. And it was fascinating to watch. You also have this executive on this show, and she used to be an actress, right? She used to be an actress who eventually became an executive, and she is sort of like, heading an agency that watches over other actors in the present day, but she is an alcoholic. And on the show, they address the alcoholism as a problem, which is very unique. Like this show came out in 2008, and again, like to this day, South Korea is not that good at addressing alcoholism, even though alcoholism is prevalent throughout the country. And I still don't know if South Korea designates it as a disease, but it is absolutely a disease. And in South Korea, where the drinking culture is very prominent, this kind of issue is absolutely something to be addressed. And I thought it was very forward thinking of Noh Hee-kyung to include an executive who has alcoholism problems. My guest today is Teruko Nakajima. She is a Japanese-American comedian, actress, and performance artist. And she has this amazing one-woman show playing at the Hollywood Fringe at the moment, at the Complex Theater, and she is astounding. She has this great show called Made in America. It's a one-woman show, an hour-long show, and she gets into very, very personal and intimate details about her life, her most intimate joys, her most intimate pains, her most intimate anger, her most intimate stories and feelings about her family dysfunction and her personal dysfunction and how she overcame a lot of that. And what I love about this show is that she dedicates it as a love letter to America. And as we all know, America is not getting a whole lot of love letters in the last several years, right? And most recently with the Supreme Court upturning of Roe versus Wade, we all know that America is not getting a whole lot of love letters. But I think in the midst of these kinds of events, it is very important to remember where we are and to know that we do have a lot to be grateful for living in this country. Just yesterday, I had lunch with Suwon Weaver's mother. Suwon Weaver's mother is now in her 90s, and she's a Korean American woman. She's an immigrant, and she made this amazing lunch for us with japchae and bulgogi and kimchi and, rice, and she also baked a cheesecake for us. She made this amazing lunch, and she was just kind of talking to us about how she came to learn how to cook because she's such an amazing cook, and she cooks in her own very personal, idiosyncratic way. And she just said that growing up, back in South Korea in the 30s, she had nothing to eat. There was starvation all around her. Everybody was hungry, and it was just not a land of abundance or plenty like South Korea is known for today. And she was just saying that living through that, she just had to realize how to be scrappy. She just had to learn how to survive on a day-to-day. And I think those skills, those creative sort of problem-solving skills that she developed in such a confined and limited place just blew up when she came to America, the land of abundance. And, as we were eating like all this food yesterday, we were just like, man, like we tend to forget. We tend to forget how much we have because we end up dwelling or thinking about what we don't have or what is missing in our lives. And it was such an important moment. Teruko's show reminded me of that there are things to be grateful for when we live in America. And as much as I complain about my life, I also am well aware that if it had not been for me living here in this country with the amount of freedom that we do have, the freedom of speech, the freedom to live like ourselves, and to have enough community members in our society to say, I am down with what you are, and I support you and who and what you are. I have a whole lot of that here in this country. It's not something I would have had as easily if I grew up in South Korea, for sure. And I know this as a fact because that's how it was in the Korean American community. They would never allow me to be myself. And, there are reasons for that, and those reasons are still valid, although I don't think it justifies bullying or harassment or abuse, right? So watching Teruko's show, I was very moved. I learned a whole lot. So I had an amazing conversation with her. Please enjoy this, and please look up her Instagram, Teruko Nakajima, and go and see her show if you're in Los Angeles. And if you're not in Los Angeles, follow her Instagram anyway, because she's going to be touring this show all over. So keep a lookout for her. It is a show that is well worth going to see. So let's talk to Teruko.
Thank you. Awesome. Sorry to be late.
No. I'm sorry about the whole thing earlier.
No, it's me. Thank you so much for helping. How
Good to-
are you?
I'm very good. How are you doing?
Good. And I was waiting for this chatting
Yeah.
today. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for making the time.
Of course, thank you for
And
having me.
congratulations on your Fringe
Oh,
run. And
thank you.
it looks like you got more show dates.
Yes. I'm not sure if I can survive, but it's an honor to have 10 more shows.
It's amazing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Oh,
It,
thank you.
I saw the flyer for the show just by accident because I know Susan Song, right?
Yes!
Mutual friend.
Yes, we love Susan way too much.
Yeah, she's great. And
Yes.
I saw the flyer and I was like, oh, this seems interesting. She seems interesting.
Oh,
And
thank
then
you.
yeah, because I had seen one other show at the Hollywood Fringe, Tree
Oh,
by Natasha Mercado.
yes. She's my BFF too. I love her so much. We are both from UCB, Susan too.
Ah, okay. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's so great. Such a great team of women. So
Yay.
I saw that and I was like, this is a great show. And then when Susan promoted your show, I was like, I want to go see this show.
Thank
And
you.
I was so happy to see it
Oh,
because
thank you.
I didn't know what I was going to
I
see.
know. I know. It looks like a circus with a dog and some comedy, and it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, I should have warned you earlier for the trigger warning and stuff.
Well, you do that in the beginning, you know?
Thank you. In a way, yes.
There is. But I was just like I didn't know what to expect, and the show was so rich and
Oh,
very raw, very vulnerable, and yeah, you're so open in it. So let me ask you, how long have you been writing this show?
6 months.
6 months, that's it.
Yes. Oh, it's actually probably more than 6 months if I'm talking about like the pitching and all the stuff, but as a show, solo show, 6 months. And I finished writing only 2 weeks before the preview day.
Wow.
So it was so much. I didn't prepare a lot. And Mr. John Friend, he is a bestest director ever, and he helped me writing entire script, and he's been my teacher, like a storytelling teacher at UCB. He's from UCB, of course. So he's been hands-on and helping me for 6 months.
Wow.
So I was guided very, I had a mighty support from him, and he directed my show with great compassion and empathy, because if he didn't understand what my voice is, it wouldn't be a good show. So he really understood what I wanted to tell to the world, and he really helped me. So
That's
6
really
months.
great. Wow.
Thank you.
So, okay, then wow, 2 weeks before the opening day, and
Yes.
that's when you finalized it. That's interesting. What part was it that you needed to finalize 2 weeks before? What was like the trickiest part?
The trickiest part is whether I am more graphic about the incidents, like all the events, or not. Also, I wanted to make it as cheeky and comedic and funny as possible. So that's the hardest, because if you think of it, my life wasn't funny, and my life was actually not that easy like everybody else's. So how to deliver in the not lightest, but like in the effective way, and witty way. And because I am actually a very cheeky person, so most authentic my self way. That was the hardest part, I would say. Yes.
What about like coming to the decision to write this one woman show? What was that process like?
So 6 years ago, I was hospitalized, and every single day, doctors check on me, social workers checked on me, even nurses called me like, "Are you okay? Make sure that you are still alive." And they didn't want me to discharge, first of all, and I kept saying to them, "No, I promise I'm not gonna do anything harmful to myself. Please trust me." And I I promise I'm gonna be better. So everybody helped me 6 years ago, and I've been with therapy twice a week still till this day. I'm still with a psychiatrist, and doctors check up on me still till this day. So basically, Americans never let me die. So after 6 years, I got a doggy, and I decided to quit, completely all 8 medications. I became an American citizen, and I almost thought, wow, I'm so lucky to be here in America, and I am super fortunate to be saved. And if I was still in Japan, easily I wouldn't be here today. And yes, I don't mean I hate Japan, but Japanese society is still a little behind compared to American society, where it comes to when it comes to suicide prevention, mental health, women's rights, and all the abuse protections, unfortunately. So I wanted to write a thank you letter to America and all the people in America, because you guys are awesome and you guys really saved me. So that's the initial intention, that I wanted to celebrate this my life, because many people don't know why I am still in America, and to me is a serious miracle, and to me is serious gift that Americans gave me. Yes.
I love this notion of writing a love letter to America, because it's so rare for anybody to write a love letter to America nowadays.
I know. And I feel so sad, to be honest, but can I tell you something?
Yeah.
So women's rights, yes, we are still fighting, but in Japan, Japan is the only country till this day that you weren't allowed to keep maiden name after marriage. So that's one thing. Another one is a very extreme example, but you have to get a rapist signature to get abortion. I shouldn't say that, because it doesn't have to be rapist. Like any man's signature that caused that pregnancy. So husband's signature, boyfriend's signature, or extreme example could be rapist's signature to get an abortion. So that's where I come from. So I am still fighting for better rights for women, and American Constitution. We have to fight for it, but compared to Japan, I am in heaven.
Mm,
Yes.
yeah. Even the concept of like alcoholism, which you talk about
Oh, yes.
in your work, like I mean, I'm from South Korea originally, and
You are?
alcoholism, it's not really talked about so much, even
Yes.
though it's a huge problem. Alcohol addiction is a huge problem, and left undiagnosed, nobody will know that this is something that is treatable or can
Yes.
be helped. But tell me about, I mean, you talk about it in your work, of course, but tell me about that moment when you heard this word and then like you came to sort of looking at your life in retrospect, like, oh, this is what my family member had. Like, what was that like?
Yes. I didn't know until the wedding day that my mother was an alcoholic.
Mm,
Um, I always thought that, oh, when she drink alcohol, she will behave badly.
hmm.
So she is a bad drunk.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Hmm.
So I didn't even notice that it's a pattern. I she even I I love my mother to death, but she used to joke about, I am a drunk driver on bicycle.
Mm,
Because she always
hmm.
drink and empty beer can in the basket and very drunk driving with
Right.
me behind.
Yeah.
So that was supposed to be a joke. I didn't know that was a serious issue
Yeah.
until I came to America.
Right.
Yes. So there are two different mother in my childhood, like loving, super sweet mother and super scary person that's
Sure.
not even a mother.
Uh-huh.
Um, and I am sure there are so many kids in Japan still suffer
Yeah.
those parents.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's very behind.
Mm,
Like a recognition and alcoholism in
mm-hmm.
Japan
Mm-hmm.
is almost um, prohibited to talk about. It's
Right, right,
almost
right, right.
because of we are from Asia,
Yeah.
where the shame is the big part of society.
Yeah.
Yes, I know Korea could be more higher rates of suicide
Yeah.
uh, a year than
Yeah.
Japan.
Yeah, it
It's a
used to be
lot.
Japan number one, but now Korea
Yes,
beat
I
them.
think so. Yes, sadly, yes, I think so. And it
Yeah.
comes from shame and
Shame, yeah.
alcohol. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
alcohol is the
Yeah.
result of
Yeah.
dealing with shame.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's a
so
form of denial of that
yes,
shame. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And
Sure.
I have many friends who is suffering alcoholism in America too.
Of course.
And yes, and my therapist taught me one time such a good example.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just killed themselves,
Yeah.
but alcohol saved them.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, substance abuse saved them.
Yeah.
So let's not hate substance abuse itself
Mm-hmm.
and just guide, use the substance abuse to guide them to
Mm-hmm.
a safer place,
Mm.
because it's the worst case is suicide. We don't
Right.
want that.
Yeah, with any kind of substance abuse that's long term, it could be reframed as long-term suicide.
Oh,
It's a
true.
form of like slow self-destruction
Yes,
over time, and
yes.
people do it in all different kinds of ways. They use it with cigarettes, or they do
Mm-hmm.
alcohol or food for some people,
Yes.
but it's a form of long-term suicide. And yeah, it's even in the US, I find that substance abuse is highly stigmatized
Mm-hmm.
when it is actually a form of mental and emotional illness.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, I think you make a good point there. Um, yeah, how do you like this was one thing that really moved me when I was listening to you on stage, but how do you sort of compromise this mother you had? Like when you were talking about your mother from childhood, when you were like dancing and like sort of, being very free and liberated in school, and letting boys like touch your butt and stuff, and
Yeah.
then you come home, and
Yes.
your mother was proud of you. She said, "I'm proud of you for being you." Like it's such a sweet moment, right? Like
Mm,
that's really the kind of mother that we idolize, like the one that
yes.
says, "I approve of you when you are really authentically you." That is
Yes.
like the best memory you have. And then how do you compromise that with the mother that's sort of on the other side of the spectrum, the scary one? Like, how do you
Yes.
balance these two?
Um, I have huge compassion, I think,
Mm,
uh, in general.
yeah,
And my mother must have had such a hard time. She
sure.
never talk about it,
Oh,
and she never be open about it yet.
uh-huh.
And I don't think in my lifetime I would hear her struggles,
Sure.
serious struggles. And
Right.
my psychiatrist is suspecting she might be abused as well.
Of course.
And yes, and um, I have super much compassion for my mother because um, in her age or in her era, there was no mental health issues. There
Yeah.
wasn't, I am lucky to have doctors who understands the level of
Mm-hmm.
this stress.
Mm-hmm.
But my mother didn't have that system. Also, it's totally up to her to go see psychiatrists and therapists and
Yeah.
all. But she's still in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
My parents are still together, by the way. My
Oh,
father,
wow.
I
Wow.
know, they became BFF, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, I was so angry, to be honest. Like, who cares about your relationship,
Yeah.
But in a way, I am very fortunate that I could make amends both of them at the same time. It's easy
Yes.
for me,
Mm-hmm.
and they are still learning, even though they don't see psychiatrists or therapists. They they're very open to me now, and
Yeah.
they are willing to, like I said, admit their mistakes, and
Yeah.
we are constantly making amends. Like
Mm.
whenever they say something wrong, and hey, that's not you were supposed to say, I explain. And
Right.
um so over time,
Yeah.
after 6 years of this,
Yeah.
uh, a long history of psychiatrist therapist help,
Yeah.
I have much more compassion over my parents. And it is, to be honest, it is not easy for me to talk bad about my parents
Mm-hmm.
on stage. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I don't think my parents can see my show.
Sure.
uh I am sad to say this, but my mother might commit suicide if she ever see that.
Mm.
I don't think she is ready yet.
Right.
So it is very tough to talk about my parents in the show till this day, because when I call my parents, I'm like, hello, how are you? I love you. And I am, little bit guilty
Oh.
dealing with my parents. But that's what they did, and that's all truth. And I deserve the right to express this
Mm-hmm.
my history, celebrate my history for overcoming all the mental health issues, and they better be a part of it. So
Yeah.
yes, and I I still have um great compassion for my parents not be able to dealing with their issues. So
Yeah.
um, I will give them time
Mm.
to heal, to process, and hopefully one day I can show this show, because it means so much to me that this is a happy ending, and um no matter how they raised me, like despite how they raised me, I have huge love for them. I love them to death. So I hope one day they understand um it's okay to be out there and in public, and it's not
Yeah.
a humiliation, it's actually to empowering others,
Yeah.
because Grace, so many women reached out to me after the show. Each show, more than 30 ladies reached out to me because the show was kind of relevant to them.
Yeah.
Yes, that's amazing. They have no idea. They helped me. I felt I am not alone now.
Mm-hmm.
So which
Yeah.
the show means so much more meaningful to me to be out there and be seen, be heard, because it heals me too.
That's great to know because
Yeah.
when I was watching the show, like I mean I was like emotionally, I was like crying and stuff, but I
Oh,
could hear
thank
people
you.
like sniffling, like I could hear everybody was crying. It's like
I
we
know.
couldn't watch it without crying, you know?
Oh,
It
thank
was
you.
so like there were so many parts to it that was moving. First of
Thank
all, I
you.
think it's amazing that you have parents who are willing to listen to you. There's so many parents who just completely deny it to
Yes,
the end, yes? But you
yes,
have parents who are at the very least open to hearing you, and
yes.
that shows how much they love you. That
Mm,
shows how much they
true.
really care about you. And there's a willingness there at the very least, even though it's slow progress, and progress is
Mm,
always very slow. But even listening to you and then hearing you say like, oh, I wish you would do this better or change this, that is huge, huge in terms of like steps they're taking for themselves, right? And
yes.
there was another part in the show when you were given all this help, right? And then as a patient you were like, I don't deserve this,
Oh,
like
yes.
that moment, that is very universally applicable to everybody. I mean, not just women, like like not just Asians, or everybody thinks that way and feels that way when something good is offered to them. They think they don't deserve it. It's
I
so
know.
strange. It's very, very strange, but that is the case. It's like I had to do that work too, like really like last year till this year, like really working on like, oh, I do deserve good things. I do deserve this and that. Like I had to convince myself that I and become receptive to it, right? Like
Yes.
that's a whole nother journey, but I didn't realize that I had to do that until I did that.
Mm,
So when you mentioned that in your act too, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is such an important message. And even you being open about like child molestation. I mean,
mm,
people don't realize this, but child molestation is extremely common. Like I am
yes.
also a victim of sexual assault when I was a child. And
I'm
I was
so
just like,
sorry.
watching you do like talk about it with such like openness and visceral vulnerability. And also you had power over it. You had power over
Yes.
your narrative when you were delivering that. I was like, I am so glad I'm watching this show
Oh,
because
thank you.
it's very difficult to talk about child abuse, isn't it? It's like we have, like, I don't know, in my head I get into this thing of like, do people want to hear this? Like
Mm,
it's almost as if I feel sorry for
yes.
expressing that part of my history, right? And like I wrote a whole novel last year and I was just like, there's this child abuse part about molestation and I was like, do I like are people is this going to turn people off? Like
Mm,
I was like worrying about that. And then
oh, yes.
when I was watching your one woman show and then you talking about it, I was like, man, she is so amazing. And
Oh, thank you.
yeah, and you had this power over the narrative that I was like sort of feeling. I was like, oh, she has power over her narrative. I can do the same. Like it was sort of like creating this sort of hope thing, and also sexual abuse as women, it's so common, right? Like
Yes.
I grew up in New York, and I remember every single day that I walked outside, every single day, I got some kind of cat call,
Mm.
some kind of remark from somebody.
Yes.
It was a daily thing. So I totally understood what
Thank
you
you.
went through in New York. And there were so many familiar aspects
Mm,
about your life that, yeah, like me as Asian American, as an
mm,
immigrant, as, like somebody with a dysfunctional family, with
mm.
alcoholism in the family, with child abuse and with, sexual assault, this and that. It was just like all so like relevant. I could relate
Thank
to
you.
it that so of course it was also healing for the audience, I guess is my point, right? As much
Hmm.
as it was healing for you, like I could feel this sort of mutual healing energy that was taking place when I was hearing all these people sniffle behind me, you
Oh,
know?
thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And I'm so sorry that happened to you too. And I, I'm so sorry.
Thank you.
Mm.
Yeah. It's okay. But yeah, I mean, I thought it was so interesting to hear you also say like that you have compassion for your assaulters too, the
Yes.
predators. And I think that moment is an important moment. So I'm just wondering, like, at what point did you come to that point of compassion in your
Yes.
life?
So after the hospitalization, and I had to study child molesters, like
Mm,
especially like the so child sex predators,
yeah,
especially like the pedophiles.
yeah.
I didn't know that, but I had to study like a super enormous amount of study, and I wanted to study that because in a way, I need to understand them.
Sure.
So there's a very good documentaries, and I think it's European too,
Mm,
and there are only 10% of serious predators, like the child pedophiles,
mm-hmm.
and 80% is a spectrum.
Oh,
And another 10% is only people who are attracted to super older people, like 80 years and up.
oh,
So when I was studying about that pedophile,
yeah,
10% pedophile thinks,
yeah.
even though I was 6 years old or 8 years old, they think they are having a relationship with that little child.
Oh,
So which means that they are in their 30 or 40, but they don't think child as child.
oh,
They think child as the mature woman.
oh, wow.
That they are, attacking them because they don't have relationships. So they just want the good part of it, the
I
sexual
see.
part of it, and taken away.
Oh,
So that those people I dealt with.
right.
And when I was getting older and older, I realized I was still a minor,
Yeah.
but like 80% of the spectrum, they are using kids to conquer their own agenda, which means that they wanted to feel powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So those people who attacked me
Mm-hmm.
were more powerful games, so tend to
Mm,
be more violent,
mm-hmm.
and I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah.
So that kind of people were also existing in this whole world. And
Yes.
those 10% pedophile, it's actually, unfortunately, they were born to do, born to feel
Mm-hmm.
that child is as a woman.
Mm,
So they need to castrate, like medically,
I see.
to prevent. And it's actually, there's a facility in Germany to take care of those patients,
Mm-hmm.
because they are harmful to the society and they know it.
Mm,
But that's actual, I shouldn't say mental health, but like a mental disorder.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's not fitable in this, so like a modern society, so they had to fix it.
Mm,
So I got like so many different kind of like attackers, like the assault people. And then I started realizing, oh, they must have a hard time too, first of all.
Yeah.
Also, 80%, the spectrum people, most likely they got attacked when they were younger too.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of, unhealthy mental state would attack women or children.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have been one of them, to be
Yeah.
honest. Luckily I don't have any interest in younger boys or younger girls in general at all. But what if I was that one?
For sure.
So I started related to those attackers.
Yeah.
And I don't think they are what should I say? They are repeatedly doing, of course, but I don't think they are way happier people than I am. Yes, I see similarities in them. I see a possibility that I could be one of them. And I started to understand, oh, they're another human being. And I wanted to, of course, like I said, they should get judged fairly in the, because we are dealing with laws. And yes, of course, they should get judged fairly. But personally, what I could do was to forgive. Because it's so much easier for me to forgive than being angry and hate. Yes.
Yeah, that kind of anger and hatred and that feeling of victimization is they're so burdensome to carry.
True.
And yeah, like I've had this conversation with other people too, but like forgiveness really, it doesn't necessarily need to go through this ritual of apology and acceptance and blah blah blah. I mean, that helps, but it's really, it could be done on your own. And
Yes.
when you were describing this whole like research that you did of pedophilia to understand your predators, what, like, it's so similar. It's, you're just like your parents in a way, you know, like you have this willingness to go and seek out other perspectives to expand your awareness. I mean, that's
Yes.
what your own parents do with you.
I
You know?
hope they do more. Yes,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true. Yes, like it's easier. It's easier to do. Yes. To be
Yeah.
honest, it's easier for themselves because they're still angry. They're still angry about themselves. I
Oh, yeah.
shouldn't do that. I
Yeah.
shouldn't do that. So I told them, no, Teruko forgives already. You forgive yourself.
Yes. That's a huge
So,
step, huge component.
huge steps.
Maybe
Yes.
okay, then this is another question I have.
Yes.
Did you ever have to go through that with yourself? Like, because I remember I had to go through that too. Like, I thought I was mad at the people who were my predators, like bullies or authority figures or, sexual predators, whatever. I thought they were the problem. But I came to this point where I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I had to forgive myself, even though there's nothing to forgive. But I felt as if I had done something wrong to myself by allowing myself to be a victim in these positions. Did you ever go through this phase at all?
Yes, a lot. Yes. And first of all, they're the problem.
Yes.
You have no problem.
Exactly.
Yes, please. They should never hurt you in the first place.
Yeah.
And I totally understand what you meant. I was attacking myself, and it's always my problem. It's always my fault.
Yeah.
And once I started to do the show,
Yeah.
I could get to see myself from objective side. And I was like, oh my gosh, Teruko in 15, you must have such a hard time. And I suddenly got a compassion for 15-year-old Teruko or 6, 8, 13. I was like, hey, Teruko's life is not easy. So I know. So this show became such a huge process of forgiving myself.
Oh,
Yes. So to be honest, I'm still having a problem. I told different interviews that I still cannot think I am beautiful till this day.
oh,
I am still not um um I still hate myself. There's this part of me hate
yeah.
myself,
Uh-huh.
but I am much healthier than before. I could tell myself I'm cute, funny, and super sexy dynamite. And I am the biggest cheerleader on earth. And, I am cheering everybody,
Yeah.
until they say enough. So I'm such a good energy that I can
Yeah.
bring. So
Yeah.
I wanted to do that to myself too. And I am working on it, and it's been much better. And Titi helps me definitely too.
Yeah.
Doggy.
Yeah. Your dog is
Yeah.
so cute.
Oh,
How
thank
long ago did you get her?
2.5 years ago.
Oh, so cute.
Yes.
Like
And
I've never seen a chihuahua with long hair.
I know she
So
is
cute.
mixed. Yes, she's a Chihuahua Maltese Yorkie mix. So she is actually having hair. So it
Yeah.
grows so
Yeah.
long. So
So cute.
thank you.
Yeah.
And every time when I am hurting myself, like I sometimes still sleep on the concrete floor,
Uh-huh.
and she sleep right next to me.
Yeah.
And I cannot do that to her. Or
Oh,
if I stopped eating, she
yeah.
stopped eating too. Yes. She senses it.
Yeah.
So in order to take care of herself, my dog, I have to take care of myself. So
Yeah.
that's a great exercise
It
that
is.
every day I've been through. So
Yeah.
it's really a good help.
It is. It is. And like I love that part of your show when you were like, "Oh, like once things settled, I decided to get myself a dog, like
Yes.
as part of the whole like self-love journey." And I was like, "Ah,
Yes.
that's such a great idea." And
Thank
it's
you.
like dogs find us, don't they?
I definitely agree. And dog rescued me. Yes.
Yeah.
Seriously. Yes.
Yeah. Such a sweet
Hmm.
dog. No, I love your show so much. Like
Oh, thank you.
what other plans do you have for your show? Like are you going to take it to other fringes or
Yes, I am going to have a show this weekend. That's a part of a Women's Voices Festival in Ventura. So I'm gonna perform there,
great.
and then thank you. Next week, I have 9 more shows in Los Angeles, the same location, and then I also wanted to bring it to New York.
Yeah.
I have an offer. I have an offer to bring it to New York, so I'm going to.
Yeah.
And because this show is actually for America, I really wanted to bring it to some different countries like the
Yes.
Edinburgh festivals, but
Yes.
I wanted to bring it to America a lot before bringing to
Yeah.
yes. So I uh definitely wanted to do this show to pitch I have a writing team, so I wanted to pitch this show to either film or TV show or TV film in any way to reach out to more audiences, because of course it's for my um gain to get healed and also, but I think I can actually bring awareness to the so to America. And actually America bring in immigrant. It's not just not my history is not that bad.
Mhm.
America really helped me, and I wanted to say out loud that America is actually a great country. Yes,
Yeah.
seriously. So I
Yeah.
wanted to bring it to so many different places in
Yeah.
America.
I mean, I think your show is definitely going to have a lot of influence on a lot of people. I mean, it
Oh, thank
definitely
you.
impacted me. I went with a friend of mine. Like she also knew nothing about the show. Like we had a nice dinner and then we went to the
It's so
show. We're
silly.
sitting in the front row and this is
I
happening and we're like,
know.
oh my gosh. Like we also have a picture of the house that you drew with your signature on the back.
And
I
that was a stage name. Teruko had a stage name.
Oh really? What was the stage name on the
It
back?
says, yes, it says Yamamoto Marinka. Marinka means a flower, like the strawberry flower.
Oh,
And
okay.
Yamamoto is just my random neighbor's last name. I really thought myself as a star. So I wrote a future mansion that I'm gonna live with 2 chimneys.
Yes, it has two.
Yes, that was a serious 4 years old Teruko's creation. That was my mother still has that
It's
origami.
amazing. It's amazing.
Thank
I
you.
have it pasted on my door, the
Oh my
house.
god!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Because I love the fact that it has 2 chimneys. That was my
Yeah,
favorite part. I was like, this is beautiful. Yeah.
it was so sweet. Thank you so much for having that origami.
Yeah,
That's so
yeah.
sweet of
Yeah,
you.
Yamamoto Marinko. Okay, I will
Yes.
remember this. That's
Thank you.
beautiful.
That's
Um,
my name. Yes.
but yeah, I could definitely see it going to Edinburgh. It's a tremendous show.
Thank
I
you
could
so
definitely
much.
see it as a TV show as well. Like if it were to be a TV show, I could see it doing phenomenally, especially like the scenes that you describe when you're working at the hostess bar and
Yeah.
oh my,
Dominatrix too.
so good. I was like, yes,
Oh,
like
thank
and
you.
even those like those aspects of the show, I was like, it makes sense why she chose these
Yeah,
kinds of
yeah.
positions. It was
Thank
again
you.
so for self-empowerment, you know.
Yes.
You being a dancer as well, it's like you can look at me, but I have control over what kind
Yes.
of movements I'm going to
Yes.
make. It's like it's
True.
visible. I could see the sort of genesis behind some of
Yes.
these career choices that you make, and it's threaded out throughout your act very clearly for me
Thank
to
you.
see. So that was really
Oh,
fascinating. But yeah,
thank you
definitely
so
I
much.
see a lot of potential for this show to do a lot more.
Oh,
And again, like, you know, I mean, you're also now an American, right? And I'm
yes.
yeah, like, and I wasn't born here either. I'm also a naturalized citizen. I'm also an immigrant.
Yay!
Yeah. So like, yeah, I mean, there is something to that, to say like I do love America, which is again, it was hard to say because of the politics and the politics. There are always problems and no
Mhm.
country is perfect. And America has
No.
committed many crimes.
Yes.
Yes, we know, but it's also like, I mean, I don't feel at home anywhere but here, really,
Mm,
right? And America is where there is Hollywood, and Hollywood is the best place for show business,
yes.
in the world. And we
Yes.
are lucky to be here for that
Yes.
regard, right? So I really loved your show because it has, as raw and as intense it is, the love and appreciation that you have for your life, for this country, for your whole story and its narrative, it's also so very much there.
Thank you.
And it didn't feel like, oh, life is terrible and it didn't feel, you know what I'm saying? It didn't feel depressing. I wasn't depressed in the end. I was just
Thank you.
like moved, and I was like, this is cathartic, and it's like I feel energized, like that's how I felt. It was inspirational. So
Thank you so
yeah, I
much.
think you have an excellent show and I could see it doing phenomenally.
Thank
So
you.
keep going.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much for
Yeah.
saying that. And I love you. Wait till Ultra Super. Titi, come on. I thought Titi was here the entire time and she left somewhere else. Sorry. But I wanted to thank you with Titi. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
we
okay.
thank
It's
you
okay.
so much.
Yeah, keep going.
Yes.
And do you, like, after your shows, like, do you feel like, what's your energy like? Do you feel depleted or?
I am so exhausted every time because I never plan to cry. but
Yeah.
I cry a lot.
Yeah.
And I kept getting messages, like such a sweet messages from everybody who's been through a lot of problem relevant messages, and I usually don't sleep the night.
Mm,
I can't sleep the night because it's not adrenaline, but it's more of like the impact I
mm,
receive from everybody, and it's it's a good impact. So
okay.
yes, I get so like hypered up, and I can't sleep, but I have no emotions, so I have to deal with it. So
Yeah.
probably I will get used to it, and I will
Yeah.
try my best to sleep. But yes,
Sleep,
I
yeah, go to the spa, get a
oh
massage,
yes,
take a bath, like whatever you need to do to rejuvenate your body and your
true,
soul, like
true.
please do it because
Thank you.
what you're doing, it's more than just a show. It's
Yeah.
really
Yes,
it's
I
like
thought
watching
so too.
like a shamanistic ritual. And
It's a my body was so exhausted because
yeah,
of that. Yes, I
yeah.
I I now understand what you
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah,
Thank you.
so nurture it, give it what it needs to replenish yourself because you have a long way to go with this, like this cart needs to go all over. So,
Yes,
like do what you
yes.
can to, rejuvenate and nurture yourself as much as you can because again, you
Thank
also
you.
deserve that rest as
Thank you
well,
so
right? That
much.
recharge as well. But
Thank you.
congratulations on such an amazing show. And
Oh,
if you don't mind, I do this on all of
no
my
mind.
podcast episodes. So I pick one Korean drama and then I ask my guest, what would you do if you were in this situation as this character? So
Okay,
think of it as improv, okay?
of course.
All right. So let's say you're a female TV director named Junyoung
Mm-hmm,
and you received a very well-written script. You really want to work on it.
mm-hmm,
But the writer of the script insists on casting herself. Like she
mm-hmm,
wants to find the cast that she likes and she wants to cast for the show. She's older than you. She has longer work experience than you. You do need to respect her, but it is your job to cast for your show. So
mm-hmm.
there's conflict. What do you do?
Right. I first of all, um, I my first instinct as a director is my raise, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Because everybody has to get paid.
Yeah.
Yes, so that must be my conflict, and
Mm,
I have to get in charge of the show
mm,
if she decided to do the show
uh,
directed by me. But the problem I am also an artist.
uh.
I have 100% respect for the older, more mature, experienced writer. I would talk it out to my executive,
Mm,
who is in charge of the TV network,
uh-huh.
to give that lady a chance.
Oh,
That's
okay.
my intention.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yes.
All right. Shit. Okay. Boss lady. Okay.
Yes.
Let's say now you're a male TV show director
Mm-hmm.
named Ji-oh.
Mm-hmm.
You used to date Chunyoung, the earlier woman that we talked about. You guys used to
Yes.
date, but
Uh-huh.
you guys broke up because you got
Okay.
distracted by other people.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think
now you want to pursue her again. But she is a little older now. She's a little trickier to figure out, but you want her back in your life. What do you do?
you mean that lady is another director lady.
Yeah, and she's your ex-girlfriend.
What I would do is, then I would research what she really loved in her life
Mhm.
and support 100%. I don't know. It's not dramatic enough, I think, but then that's real me. So
Yeah.
if she really pursues some career or dream,
Yeah.
I would be 100% of the support, because getting attention from her, me, it's not gonna work.
Yeah.
But if I were a woman,
Yeah.
I'm talking from the male perspective, if I were a woman, someone helped me, supported me with no return, expectation of return, I might gonna end up with, choosing that person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's a actual tactic that he should pursue.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
It's very simple what we women want. We just want to be supported, right? It's
Yes.
very simple.
Simple.
I like that. Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Let's say you're a Chio again. Okay. The
Yes,
same
Chio.
man. Same man. Okay. You and Junyoung are now going out again. You guys are a couple again. Okay.
Ooh.
But Junyoung, her mother is a gambling addict.
Oh.
And Junyoung is also very rich. Okay. Lives in a big house. Junyoung's mother says to you that she does not approve of you because you are from a poor farmer background and Junyoung is rich, and she tells you to break up with her. What do you do?
I respect I respect her choice, but it's totally two adults. This is a two adults' relationship. So I leave it up to Chunyan to decide. And also, if I could do, I would definitely protect Chunyan from her mother because she cannot lose her money.
Yeah.
And I might do prenup for marriage if we decided to do marriage, because to protect Chunyan, I don't need money.
Yeah.
But the actual lady.
Yeah.
So I would do prenup. I also ask Chunyan to protect herself from her mother, even though the mother must be a great mother for Chunyan. It is dangerous to have a gambling addict. I also would provide any help possible for the mother because I think that she needs professional help. Yes, when it comes to if she ever decided to get help.
Yeah.
So that's the only thing, because real Teruko too, but marriage is nothing but just two people's contract. So as long as she is alive, I am alive, I'm happy.
Are you a lawyer? I mean, you sound like a lawyer.
No, I'm not a lawyer.
You sound like a lawyer the way you explain things. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right. Let's say you're Junyoung now. Okay.
Okay.
Your boyfriend Chio, one day out of nowhere with no explanation, he just dumps you.
Oh, okay.
What do you do?
I would be so sad. And 6 years ago, if somebody did that, I might gonna ended up killing that person. But that would be more Korean drama. But right now, I am more mature and more stable, emotionally stable. So I accept.
Okay.
And yes, I would probably say thank you to him for everything he did to me. And I wish I could get explanation, but either way, it doesn't matter. I will move on, and the love, even though the form is different, like a relationship form is different, my love to him would never gonna change.
Wow.
No matter how I chose different person or so I would just say thank you and let him know that I have no anger, or no, I wouldn't say it. I would love you still. And Teruko, no, I'm sorry. You Chunyan, move on.
Holy shit. Are you a monk? Are you a Buddhist monk?
I don't want to be, but I don't do drug. I don't drink. I don't do any late night activities anymore. And I don't eat meat. Like I am vegan, so I think I'm the complete monk. To be honest,
you're a Buddhist monk. Yeah.
Yeah,
basically.
unfortunately.
Got it. Now it makes sense. I understand. Okay. All right. Final question. These are great. These are great.
Thank you.
Let's say you're a TV writer. All right. you're working on your television show. There's like a 20 episode show.
Uh-huh.
Your coffee spills on your laptop. You lose entire episodes, like maybe 5, 6 episodes, gone, deleted. What do you do?
So the computer doesn't have an iCloud system. I will write it down again.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Simple as that.
Because it's okay. I still am alive, so I can do whatever I want again. Probably next time I'm much better. We never know. So I will do this again.
Yeah, you are a Buddhist monk. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, you're a Buddhist monk. Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Teruko, thank you so much. This is an honor and a pleasure.
Oh, this is my honor, and thank you so much for giving me great compassion.
Yeah.
I love you way too ultra super much, and and I can't wait to see your shows. And I please let me your biggest cheerleader, and I hope to see you super soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Yay! We love you, Titi, my dog, and I love you super much.
Oh, thank you. Love you too.